In the top stories, nation records fifth COVID death. Suspects in custody for 15-year-old murdered in Jamaica and attacker killed in New Zealand supermarket stabbing. Hello and welcome to the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Today is Friday, September 3rd, 2021. I'm your presenter, Shanique Harvey. Nationally, St. Kitts and Nevis has confirmed a fifth COVID-related death. The information was delivered in the COVID-19 situation report for Thursday. This death comes 2 weeks after the fourth COVID-related death on August 19th, which was announced by Chief Medical Officer Dr. Hazel Laws at Wednesday's NEOC COVID-19 briefing. Officials continue to urge everyone to get vaccinated, as this is the most effective way to prevent severe illness or death related to COVID-19. For persons who have been fully vaccinated against COVID-19 and are interested in acquiring the electronic vaccination card, verifying the information on the e-card and the physical one is an important part of the process. That's according to Health Minister Honorable Akila Byron Nisbet at this week's NEOC COVID-19 briefing. Explaining why persons have to come in to the ICT Center in St. Kitts or other centers in the future, Minister Nisbet outlined varied inconsistencies.
It is important for you to be able to go into a center to be able to make sure that your information that is on your government-issued ID matches back to the information in the database. I know persons are saying that they don't see the need for them to go to the facilities. However, I am sure there are individuals who would have attempted to pull down their electronic versions of the card, and the information that they receive from the computer would have been that it's the wrong information or your information does not match. We've had instances where persons would have provided a nickname instead of the actual legal names, and so we just want to make sure by you providing us with that ID that you would have provided us with your legal name. That legal name is checked against your date of birth and then the unique ID that you are given in order for you to be able to receive the vaccination card, the electronic card.
Another discrepancy that surfaced in the process is the issue of illegible penmanship and other human errors, causing incorrect names to be entered into the database for vaccinated individuals. Minister Byron Nisbet said today is the final day for persons to visit the ICT Center located along the Bay Road to verify their information. An announcement of the new venues to receive the electronic cards, including in Nevis, will be given in the near future. An autopsy was performed on the body of 21-year-old Keniqua David of Sadler's St. Kitts on Wednesday by resident pathologist Dr. Adrian Nunes. Dr. Nunes concluded that death was due to severe craniofacial trauma as a result of a motor vehicular accident. According to a police statement, the accident involved motor Jeep P6667, which is owned and was being driven by Kelly and Hazel of St. Paul's. The police say that close to 1 a.m. on Friday, August 27th, Hazel exited the parking lot of a club in Bird Rock and collided with a 40-feet container chassis. The St. Kitts and Nevis Fire and Rescue Services had to be called to remove Miss David, who was in the front passenger seat. Both Hazel and David were transported to the JNF General Hospital via the Emergency Medical Service. Hazel was treated and discharged for injuries to his hand, while David succumbed to her injuries close to midnight on August 27th. In regional news, police in Jamaica say they are making headway in their investigation into the death of 15-year-old Kevin McKenzie, whose mother discovered his body beside the basket he took to empty the garbage. CVM Live, Paige Dixon reports.
Man go down at the rubbish heap, see me baby, lie down with the eye wide open, and then chop off his neck or chop on his hand. Tell something, no. Just one question more after. What me baby to them? If in the come road mother understand.
This is the cry of deceased 15-year-old Kevin McKenzie's mother, who stumbled upon her son's lifeless body beside the basket he took to empty the garbage. Police say Mackenzie was well respected in his community and an active member of the cadet unit at his high school. Police intelligence so far are pointing to the murder being a reprisal following the death of 23-year-old Jakari Wanda the previous night in a neighboring community of Shelter Rock. In recent times, there has been a rift between Jones Avenue and Shelter Rock, which resulted in 5 murders in a short time span. The police have since carried out tactical operations, resulting in the apprehension of several suspects, including a member of the Klansman gang.
There are a number of friends in the Klansman gang emerging, and we know for certain that 2 of the men, one is a major player, is a relative of one of the top-tier member of the original Klansman gang who is now incarcerated, and another one of his lieutenants we have in custody. The lieutenant would have found some ammunition, 7.62 cartridges and 357, which belongs to AK-47, and the powerful 357 Magnum.
Police say they will leave no stone unturned until justice is served.
We want to make an appeal to all the residents who are residing in these affected communities to engage us, whether directly or indirectly.
Paige Dixon, CVM Live.
And finally, in regional news, Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre says St. Lucia is in a financial mess, being nearly $4 billion in debt, and intends to restructure it. HTS News Force with this report.
The finances of the country are in a mess.
Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre makes no bones about St. Lucia's fiscal position. Outside the House of Parliament on Tuesday, Pierre says a statement will soon be made to provide an overall picture of St. Lucia's current fiscal standing.
At some point very soon, I'll be addressing the nation, tell them what we found. We do not want to enter into the business of coming to government and creating any panic. But I can tell you, the country is near $4 billion of debt.
The Prime Minister notes that the island has below-the-line debt. Below-the-line items can include expenses like tax, interest, operating expenses, and other extraordinary expenses. Pierre says the island's debt needs serious intervention and streamlining.
We've got some what is called below-the-line debt of over $120 million. So the country's financial position is one that we have to look into, and we have to very cautiously tread. The Huanero Airport is $186 million worth of debt. US dollars worth of debt, right? What do we want to do? We want to find ways of whether we can re-engineer that debt, whether we can restructure that debt to remove the burden from the people of St. Lucia and cause us to get some more fiscal space.
The Minister for Finance says the restructuring aims to ensure that the best possible fiscal latitude is created to enable the government to establish new projects. Solange Alfred, HTS News Force.
Internationally, New Zealand police shot and killed a man after he stabbed and wounded at least six people in a supermarket in the city of Auckland, New Zealand. More in this Reuters news report.
New Zealand police shot and killed a man on Friday after he stabbed and wounded at least 6 people in a supermarket in the city of Auckland. Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern called the man a violent extremist.
What happened today was despicable, it was hateful, it was wrong. It was carried out by an individual, not a faith, not a culture, not an ethnicity, but an individual person who was gripped by ideology that is not supported here by anyone or any community. He alone carries the responsibility for these acts. Let that be where the judgment falls.
She said he was a supporter of the Islamic State militant group. The attacker, who has not been named, has been identified as a Sri Lankan national who has lived in New Zealand for 10 years and has been a person of interest for about 5 years, Ardern said, and was monitored constantly. He was killed within 60 seconds of beginning his attack. Police following the man thought he had gone into the supermarket to do some shopping, but he pulled out what one witness described as a long knife and started stabbing people. Police said the attacker was acting alone, and they were confident there was no further threat to the public.
Although ailing, Pope Francis says he will not resign, debunking rumors of his resignation. Vatican officials are worried about his health after surgery recently. More in this Euronews report.
Resign? I don't even think about it. Pope Francis has been clear in his comments on rumors of resignation after surgery a few weeks ago. Yet, the pontiff's state of health is worrying.
Certainly we can see it. It is under everyone's eyes. He has motor difficulties. This is evident, but we had also seen it before the colon operation. His right hip has been waiting for a year for a prosthesis, which is unlikely to arrive after the operation he underwent on 4th July. Recently, he revealed that he has 33 centimeters of intestine removed, and for a man of 85, that means a fairly strict diet.
If retiring, at least for the moment, seems a distant prospect, the question remains as to what to do if Francis wants to step back as his predecessor, Benedict XVI, did. The role of the Pope Emeritus remains a problem for the Vatican. It's a title given to a pontiff who has withdrawn from the Holy See.
Surely the Pope Emeritus can be normalized, but it is difficult to do so with a living Pope Emeritus, because it would be a law contra personam, against Ratzinger. On the other hand, it is also difficult to do so because the rumors of a Bergoglio ready to resign would be spread again.
The health of the Catholic Church's spiritual leader has always been a well-kept secret, but the Argentinian cleric's condition is worrying, particularly in light of the great challenges still facing this pontificate. From Rome, for Euronews, Alberto De Filippis.
And now for the weather. Present weather is cloudy with a moderate breeze of 16 miles per hour from the east. Seas are not exceeding 1 to 2 meters or 4 feet. Weather forecast for St. Kitts and Nevis today will be partly cloudy in general. Tonight will be fair to partly cloudy with a 20% or slight chance of brief passing showers. Sunset today will be at 6:23 p.m. and sunrise tomorrow at 5:58 a.m. And that brings us to the end of the ZIZ newscast. Join us this evening for these stories and more in detail. Thank you for tuning in. I'm your presenter, Shanique Harvey.